3 decades later, we're still witnessing the fallout. Areas once filled with thriving industries now struggle with persistent unemployment. Something unexpected has emerged from this economic distress, a political transformation sweeping through former East German regions. What connection might exist between these economic policies and today's polarized landscape? A tale of two Germanys. Imagine standing at the Berlin Wall in 1989. On one side, gleaming Mercedes sedans navigated smooth highways. On the other, smoke-belching Trabants puttered along cracked roads. This wasn't just a border between two political systems. It represented one of history's most dramatic economic divides within what had once been a single nation. The seeds of this division were planted in the rubble of World War II. After Germany's defeat in 1945, the Allied powers carved the country into occupation zones. As Cold War tensions escalated, these administrative boundaries hardened. By 1949, two separate German states emerged. The Federal Republic of Germany, West Germany, aligned with Western democracies, and the German Democratic Republic, East Germany, established as a Soviet satellite state. Their economic starting points weren't equal. West Germany retained much of Germany's industrial heartland in the Ruhr Valley and benefited from its integration into Western markets. Meanwhile, East Germany bore the heavier burden of war reparations to the Soviet Union. Entire factories were dismantled and shipped east, with Soviet authorities extracting an estimated 30% of East German industrial capacity as compensation for war damages. What followed was like two paths diverging through a forest, one paved and well-maintained, the other increasingly rocky and overgrown. West Germany embraced the social market economy championed by Economic Minister Ludwig Erhard, combining free market principles with social welfare protections. This approach, coupled with substantial American investment through the Marshall Plan, approximately $1.4 billion, created the foundation for the Wirtschaftswunder, or economic miracle. East Germany implemented a Soviet-style centrally planned economy. Private businesses were nationalized, agriculture was collectivized, and production became subject to rigid 5-year plans determined by political leaders rather than market forces. The state told us what to produce, how much, and for whom, recalled Karl, a former factory manager from Leipzig. Innovation wasn't rewarded. Meeting a quota was all that mattered. The differences manifested in everyday life. By the 1960s, West Germans enjoyed widespread prosperity with rising wages and expanding consumer choices. Volkswagen Beetles and later BMW and Mercedes vehicles became symbols of West German middle-class lifestyle. A West German worker could purchase a refrigerator with about 1 month's salary, a luxury many East Germans wouldn't obtain for another decade. In East Germany, consumer goods remained chronically scarce. The waiting list for a Trabant could stretch 10 years. We joked that by the time your car arrived, your children would be old enough to drive it, remembered Greta from Dresden. Despite its shortcomings, the Trabi became emblematic of East German aspiration and industrial limitations. The productivity gap widened relentlessly. By 1989, West German workers produced 3 times more output per hour than their Eastern counterparts. This resulted from structural factors: outdated machinery, inefficient production methods, inadequate infrastructure, and misaligned incentives within the planned economy. East German factories operated with obsolete equipment. While West German companies continuously invested in new technologies, Eastern enterprises struggled with chronic underinvestment. The average machine in East German industry was 26 years old by the late 1980s, compared to just 12 years in West Germany. The communist leadership's emphasis on heavy industry came at the expense of innovation and consumer goods. East Germany devoted resources to showcase projects while neglecting basic infrastructure maintenance. Housing deteriorated, utilities went unrepaired, and transportation networks crumbled. Environmental conditions diverged dramatically. While West Germany implemented environmental protections in the 1970s, East Germany ran heavily polluting industries with minimal safeguards. By 1989, The eastern state had some of Europe's most contaminated regions. In Bitterfeld, we knew which. Weigh the chemical plant was by the color of the sky, said Thomas, who grew up near the industrial zone. The economic indicators revealed the growing divide. By 1989, West Germany's GDP per capita reached approximately 23,000 Deutschmarks, while East Germany struggled to achieve 12,000 Ostmarks based on official statistics. Independent economists later revealed these eastern figures were significantly inflated. West Germans were likely 3 to 4 times wealthier than their eastern counterparts. This disparity shaped everyday experiences. West German supermarkets offered abundant choices with fully stocked shelves. East Germans faced chronic shortages of basic items. When bananas appeared, word spread like wildfire, recalled Helga from Karl-Marx-Stadt, now Chemnitz. You drop everything to stand in line for hours. Telecommunications highlighted the technological gap. West Germany built a modern phone network where most households had private telephone lines. In East Germany, only about 15% of households had telephones by 1989, with waiting times stretching years or decades. Many relied on public phone booths for essential communications. The social welfare systems also diverged. While both provided universal health care and education, quality differences emerged. West German hospitals incorporated the latest technologies, while Eastern facilities often operated with outdated equipment. We became masters of improvisation, noted Dr. Mahler, who practiced medicine in Leipzig for 30 years. By the late 1980s, these divergent economic paths created fundamentally incompatible structures. West Germany operated a sophisticated, globally competitive market economy integrated into Western European trade networks. East Germany maintained a rigid command economy largely isolated from market forces, increasingly uncompetitive except through artificial exchange rates and subsidies. When the Berlin Wall fell in November 1989, these economic realities presented an unprecedented challenge, like trying to rejoin 2 roads that had been built to entirely different specifications. East German industries couldn't survive competition without protection, yet maintaining separate economic zones seemed politically unacceptable. The productivity disparities, technology gaps, and environmental degradation represented a chasm that couldn't be bridged overnight, or even within years.